Future Hacker Life Path Future.
Hello everybody, this is the second episode with Lidia Zuin at Future Hacker. This is your host, Maria Taide. Welcome back, Lidia.
Hi, Maria. Thanks for having me again.
Regarding those trending biohacking practices, all those experiments in people's bodies to improve physical and cognitive performance, there are many questions regarding how safe and even ethical they are. We did mention this briefly in the first episode, but digging a little deeper into that, could you share with us the most popular trends and even the crazier ones, if you can? How to balance ethics and regulations versus the path to innovation, right?
Yeah, well, that's very complicated. I mean, we have currently two definitions of biohacking going on. You have all these people who are implanting things in their bodies or experimenting with substances, chemical substances. And you also have some people who are actually calling it biohacking, the way they are using diets, meditations, some kinds of supplements and exercises to hack their bodies, their metabolism, and be more productive, more healthier, to live long, and so on. I see this difference because in one part you see something more, on one side you see some more underground experimentation between people who have some kind of scientific knowledge and they're experimenting all these things in their own bodies. And there's other people who are kind of trying to reach their best version and be more productive, more healthier and stuff like that. So it's kind of different, the approach. Of course, these people who are doing this more an underground way, they're experimenting to become better. But I see a difference when we think about the way some people are doing like not bulletproof, but like low carb diets or even fasting as a means to be more productive and live longer. So I will focus more in this more underground behavior or expression of biohacking because I think it's more interesting. And I see this very latent when we think about the transgender community. I've been reading a very interesting book called Testo Junkie by Paul Preciado, and he talks how he started experimenting using a testosterone gel in not kind of a gender transition, sex transition, but as an experiment to see how his body would respond to the use of the hormones. So I find this very interesting to see how the body can be hackable in a way. And also when you consider artistic collectives such as Cyborg Foundation, you see people like Neil Harbison, Moon Ribas. They are trying to use technology to hack our senses and amplify our senses. So Neil, for instance, he was born with a specific condition that he doesn't see colors. He sees the world in black and white. So he joined a project with some scholars, and they developed an implant to his brain that converts light, therefore color, into sounds. So he developed a new ability, a new possibility of seeing the world and seeing colors, but actually hearing it. He acquired something that humans, average humans, don't have this ability. The same way that Moon Ribas has an implant in her, I think it's in her feet, and she receives constantly information about earthquakes around the world, but also in the moon. And with this information, she creates performances, dances, and using drums. Basically, she acquired another ability that we don't have normally as humans. So there is this another version or aspect of biohacking, which is achieving other abilities that we don't normally have as humans. And they are very inspired by nature. So if we as humans don't see in the dark, but bats do, how can we adapt that to our bodies? And they say that imagine if we could see in the dark, we wouldn't be so craving about electricity and electrical light. and then we maybe wouldn't destroy nature as much as we do to light our cities and to power our devices, because our bodies would be already prepared for that. So they really take the meaning of cyborg proposed by two NASA scientists in the 60s, which was basically trying to create a cybernetic organism that could be better adapted to alien territory. So instead of creating, let's say, a Mars base, you would actually have your body adapted to live in these other places in the space and stuff like that. So I find that very interesting. As I said, there's this community, transgender communities. They do this as a kind of biohacking exercise. They have access and exchange hormones, and it's kind of like self-help groups in the United States in the 70s, when women helped each other outside the sphere of hospitals and legal medicine, let's say. And on the other hand, there's people also who suffer from diabetes and they have difficulty to access insulin, so they produce insulin in their garages, let's say. So there's a lot of articles talking about that. And this is a kind of resistance that makes me more excited about biohacking compared to the biohacking of Silicon Valley, which is basically just trying to make you more productive, to work more and make more money. That's not really very inspiring for me.
Not very sexy, right?
No.
But this is insane, right? Thinking about, I just love your perspective of if you're able to see in the dark, you wouldn't be consuming so much energy and would be sparing nature, right? But on the same time, thinking about humans having all those superpowers that's super sci-fi X-Men like, right?
Yeah, but we have like a limit for that. But maybe sometimes we think we are going to, let's say, fly, but it's not like that. And again, is it desirable? Is it really necessary? And I remember when I implanted an NFC chip on my hand, and everybody was like, why did you do that? You don't need it, because the same technology is available on cell phones, on smartphones, which is paying, like contactless paying, or using electronic, I don't remember the name, but like you can make contactless payments using your credit card or your cell phone. So why did you implant something in your body? So more and more companies and technologists are actually trying to create devices that don't necessarily are inserted in our bodies. They are more wearables than implantables, let's say. So maybe we don't need to put these things in. So I see this more as a kind of subculture, underground artistic movement, or even a resistance kind of expression, rather than a necessity for us to amplify our capabilities in the future.
Okay, so hold on a minute. You currently have a chip implanted on your body?
Yeah, that's right.
And what does it do?
Well, it's an NFC chip. Well, basically, it's just a very small chip by the size of a grain of rice. It works with it's like contactless cards. I can use it to program to open my door, for instance, or my car. I could pay with that. For now, credit card companies like Visa and MasterCard don't give the permission to do that, but maybe in the future. And also there's a story very interesting. A guy with this kind of implant in Australia, I guess, he kind of hacked his ticket to Subway, and he put the credits in his implant so he wouldn't need to use the ticket. But in the end, justice just said, no, you can do this. This is not the right way. So you will need to pay a fine because you're using a non-compliant ticket card. There's this possibility too, but companies and governments still didn't legalize or regulate this kind of use. So there's not really much use in my case. It's more of an anthropological experience. I like to say that, and see people's reaction, because there was many times people, wow, yeah, you have an implant, you have a chip implanted in your body. And there was another opportunity that some German people in a conference about technology just said, nah, whatever. Why do you have this inside your body? You can do this with your smartphone. You're just like dumb.
Well, we're definitely never breaking it like we do with the smartphone, right? But anyways, getting back to the script, right? Because I could be talking to you about that forever. So let's go back. So Lidia, you mentioned already movies like Blade Runner, right? Going back to Blade Runner, or even Ella, I don't know how it's.
I think it's Her in English.
It's Her. That's true. I love that movie. They explore the love between humans and machines. Do you believe this is a future trend? And do you think we could be the ones actually building our own soulmate if we never find one?
Yeah, definitely. I just wrote a script for a friend. He does these videos on his Instagram profile. And this was the specific thing we are addressing. I actually wrote an article some years ago based on an assumption suggested by a researcher called Marina Adshade. And what she says is that, well, for now we already have some people marrying with fictional characters. For instance, in Japan, since 2002, I guess, there are some cases of men who married with video game characters, and more recently a guy married to Hatsune Miku, which is a video game character, but also a Vocaloid, which is like a character they create with some synthetic voice, and she becomes like a superstar, and then she gives concerts around the world as an hologram, but she doesn't exist. And then, well, he married her. So it's very real in Japan, which is a country where we see that more and more young people don't have sexual active lives. We see these already happening, and we see companies like the American one called Real Doll trying to adapt AI in sex dolls. So Matt McMullen is the guy behind this, and he just did like a concept doll called Harmony, which you can choose not only her face, her hair, but also through an app on your smartphone, your cell phone or tablet. You can customize her accent, her personality, whatever. You can customize it. If you don't want to be with the same girl in the other day, you don't need to buy another doll, and so on. So it's very crazy to see this. But what Marina suggests is that maybe it's not a catastrophe to have sex bots among us, because, well, she gives a historical panorama about relationships, right? She says, like, before Industrial Revolution, people married in terms of, and even after the first Industrial Revolution, but men and women married not because they loved each other, but mostly because it was interesting in terms of money and the idea that the woman would be the mother and take care of the house, and the man would be outside working and providing for their family. But after, especially First World War, we saw women going to work outside their homes and really take part of the market. And with that, we also have the creation of the pill, and women could actually choose if they wanted to have children or not. They could organize their lives as not only housewives, but working in the market, in the industry. And then we started to have women more independent and able to choose to marry because they like it, another man or whatever, another woman. There's this sexual revolution in the 70s. And it's very, very funny because Marina gives an example that is crazy, because I don't know if it's true. Also because we have in the 70s all these revolutions and movements talking about freedom, whatever. And she says that by that moment, microwaves were created. And after microwaves were created, frozen meals were also sold, right? And then because they wouldn't need more women, like they wouldn't need to marry a woman to cook for them. They could, more homosexual couples start to be together. So they would just use the microwave to eat the frozen meal. It's crazy, but this is something that she says, and I always find that funny because it's not that simple, but it's a consequence of technology that wasn't envisioned by the creators of microwaves and how it impacts in human society and behavior and our relationships. So what she says is that in the end, sex robots might make us more independent in terms of releasing our desires, our sexual drives, not searching for another partner, but actually being more efficient. And let's say me as a heterosexual woman, I could be married to another woman who is heterosexual too, but we don't have a loving relationship. We don't have a sexual attraction between us, but we could live together because we are friends. We like each other. We can divide and share the bills and the rent. And we could live better than if I had a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And by the end, there's all these problems with relationship, betrayal. And you have also the rise in trends of polyamorous relationships. But basically what Marina suggests is that I wouldn't need to marry or to live with someone I am sexually attracted to. I would be releasing and having my sexual drives attended by sex robots instead. So I could be living with a friend and I could choose to have children with her, but we wouldn't be in a relationship, or actually not a sexual relationship. So it's very crazy to see how she envisions sex robots as means to change relationship and make it more efficient or more practical, depends on what you think.
You know what, Lidia, this is so many amazing contents that we definitely have to go to a third episode because we still have a lot to talk about. This is definitely, I wasn't expecting to have a romance with the robot approach here, so I'm loving everything that you're saying. Let's go back. Everybody stay tuned. This is the end of the second episode, but we're moving to a third one.
Future Hacker. Life. Path. Future.